My favorite interviews or conversations, video conversations, are with people. We start with like, how long have we known each other now? And how many kids did you have?
And then we can't figure it out because it's been that long.
Ginger Imster, Executive Director of Arts Grants, we have known for at least 10 years. That's what we
right.
figure out.
10 years.
But when we first met you, you were with the school.
I was City Academy.
City Academy.
Yes, and then you jumped into the Arts Grants, which is a fabulous
She's
program.
a mover and shaker.
Don't even talk. We'll just talk about you.
That's very nice.
Like,
A moment
as
of
if she
affirmation.
isn't here.
That's nice.
Well, like in a short term, can you tell us Arts Grants for people who just aren't familiar with it?
Sure. So it's a nonprofit, started about 5 years ago, and the premise was, how do we incent early stage business development in St. Louis? Doesn't sound very sexy to a lot of people until you start to realize, if you have children or grandchildren, that they don't want to work here, and all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, what is it about this community that doesn't resonate with this next generation?
Yeah, what is it?
So Arts Grants was really the point of inception to say, what is it, and how do we rebrand ourselves in the context of a very creative class of millennials, and how do we incent a new generation to think about building brands and businesses in St. Louis? And from a global perspective and from an inclusive perspective, because so oftentimes when we're looking at business creation, it's done through very specific lenses. And I think the four founders of Arts Grants really said, let's blow open that model, and we want more of everything and more of everyone, and we can really leverage our best assets to get great talent. So that's what we're doing.
Actually, you brought people from out of town to us, didn't you?
It's about a 50-50 mix of retention, because we have 2 nationally ranked schools of entrepreneurship in St. Louis between Washington University and SLU. And then globally, we've been able to attract about 12% of our businesses have been founded outside the United States. And when you look at the portfolio overall, over 5 years, 96 companies, about 50% have come from the United States, and about 50% have come from, or should I say Missouri, and 50% have come from outside.
So
of
you're a
Missouri.
young startup, and you're low on money, and you're looking for a headquarters. Where are we going to headquarter our business? Where are we going to start? We're moving out of our garage for the first time. Mm-hmm. And you look at St. Louis, and Arts Grants says, well, come here. We give you $50,000. And what else?
We'll give you $50,000 without any equity. So that's a differentiator for us. Yep. We'll give you $50,000, and we're going to require you to have 12 months with us, not 12 weeks.
I was going to say, okay, so they have to actually be here.
They do. And 51%
and that's all it
of a
takes
team.
to fall in love with this city.
Well, that's what we think, right?
Yeah.
51% of a team. So as a husband and wife team, we have a number of those, and it makes the couple have to move, which I think is important to marriage, that we spend more time together, perhaps, right? We did.
Ginger, the secret is to not spend any time together.
Is that what I told you?
This is the wisdom that's been imparted to me today. So all the more reason for me to travel.
Nothing on you,
more.
Harry. Nothing on you.
Never. And so with 51% of a team here over 12 months, the expectation is that, yes, we are helping them put down roots and fall in love with St. Louis, but that they are demonstrating that they can also hire here, do business here, scale here. And as we think about a global economy, when we have companies that are coming into this market and they say, I want a headquarters in the Midwest, and I want that headquarters in the Midwest to be through St. Louis, then that's a marvelous opportunity for us too, to really help them figure out, okay, now how do I build this brand nationally, but through the Midwest?
It breaks my heart because I was a young person, believe it or not, one day, and I wanted to leave St. Louis too. And I don't know, I guess it's just maybe everybody wants to leave your hometown and go out and see the world, and then you find out, hey, St. Louis is better, and you come back.
Yeah.
But you don't know that until you leave. So of the people that you've actually given grants to, do you know like how many of them have stayed?
Any success stories?
We do. So we've had a number of boomerangs. So what Joy just described as this idea of, I've grown up in St. Louis, I've gone away, an Arts Grant has now incented them to come back. And we call them boomerangs, so that's good. But we've had 96 companies funded, 85 are still in business. 84% of the 85 still in business still have a presence in St. Louis.
That's wonderful.
So that's the retention.
How nice.
It is. And they've gone on to do significant work. So we're talking about companies that are looking at, basically, how do we cure cancer? Now, I know that sounds like a great big, but how do you train your body's immune system to help you address cancer in your own body with your own physical makeup.
Absolutely.
Physiological makeup. We have companies that are looking at logistical issues. So because we're in the middle of the United States and we're within reasonable distance of most of the population of the United States, this is a perfect place for a company that's looking at logistics or shipping to have a presence.
I'm telling you.
Food ingredients. right? Ag tech.
I think
we're right
we
here.
met somebody doing the food ingredient thing that had an Arts Grant.
Through you guys.
Recently.
Maybe a couple of people.
And Label Insight is another company.
No, I would assume most of them are young, but they're not all young.
They're not all young. It's a wonderful mix of age. We have, I think our oldest entrepreneur or member of a team is probably over 60. And then we have had a entrepreneur as young as 18 to 19,
really?
somewhere in there.
Now, you just awarded 10 new recipients for the winter competitions.
We did.
And it's a global competition.
Global.
Talk about some of them. Who is some of the newbies?
So it's very exciting to see Accelerate Wind. This is a female company. They were currently in the Netherlands when we had our event to announce them, so they weren't able to join us, but they're very excited to come back to St. Louis because she has roots in St. Louis too, so Joy, as you were saying. And to be in the middle United States with a wind company, it's a good place. It's a good location.
Absolutely.
We're excited about that one. Food, so we have pet food with Riley's, and I'm kind of excited about them because there's St. Louis roots there too. And then the Magnetone group. Magnetone is looking at amplifiers, and the theme to your listeners is obviously we're an industry agnostic competition. So that's another big differentiator for Arts Grants. We're not looking at a specific type of industry. We're looking to leverage the different industry strengths that we have, but also the innovation clusters. So food and energy and water.
Do you have like a panel of judges or what?
We do. So this is, in this space, a lot of people talk about crowdfunding. We talk about crowdsourcing talent. So this is a group of entrepreneurs and businesses that are really curated by a broad base of industry experts and community judges, over 400 volunteers. And then there's a smaller group of about 40 who ultimately take what the community identifies as being of interest, and they then distill that into, in the past, 60 finalists. And of the 60 finalists, we would select 20 Arts Grants recipients.
And this truly is global. You just came back from Cork this past week. Cork,
in Ireland. Yes.
With the global,
no wonder your skin looks so nice.
That's so nice.
The Global Accelerator Network, what is that?
So this was Startup Nations, and it was a Startup Nations Summit, and Global Entrepreneur Network, and then the Global Accelerator Network. Believe it or not, Jen and GAN are different, and they're separately organized. But Jen is one that is very much involved with the Startup Nations Summit, and then GAN, the Global Accelerator Network, is one that we're exploring too. And there were representatives that certainly are involved in both. The event in Cork was largely Jen, and Startup Nation Summit, and this is the fourth Startup Nation Summit that they've had. I was one of very few Americans in the room.
Really? Wow.
There were about 160 or more representatives. I think 60 countries were represented. And it was fascinating to be a part of the conversations following Brexit in Europe, our presidential election recently, then anticipating what France is going to do in terms of their election that's forthcoming. So lots of global conversation around politics, but also lots of intense, thoughtful discussion around how do we transcend politics to really be looking at equity and justice issues through the lens of innovation and entrepreneurship.
I can tell you how. Through shopping.
I love that.
It's always through shopping.
Drop that war attitude and just let's do some shopping.
Shop.
How unique is Arts Grants? Will we find similar things in other cities that you compete with?
It's unique, and I want to get back to what Joyce said too, because there's wisdom there. Yeah. So as always, Joyce has lots of wisdom. So yes, it is unique. It is not the only equity-free global competition in the world, but the fact that we generate $1 million in equity-free funding to 20 companies a year, that volume, that density, that is a differentiator. The fact we have a 12-month commitment that we make entrepreneurs, commit to, and I say make. It's part of the obligation. Since the money's equity-free, the real opportunity for them to connect with us is to recognize that this is as much about place as it is about their business. So we talk a lot about people, place, and purpose. We're looking for the right people who want to build a business in this place and who have a shared sense of purpose around this kind of work.
Okay,
so
shopping.
Yeah, and then shopping. So shopping is really lovely. Shopping, food, music, right? These are the three things that if we could figure this out, because I think so much of what Arts Grants has done, when we have the retail-facing, the consumer-facing product companies, that's been a lovely place for St. Louisans to start to understand what we're doing. And it's what's exciting about the Fashion Fund downtown.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And bringing retail back to downtown.
Yeah, that's getting huge.
Right. And so how are we contributing to that in a meaningful way, since we don't have an industry specificity within the competition? So I hope that shopping does become a part of our narrative, more so with St. Louis, and we just have to be thoughtful about it. So we're bringing companies here who can be successful here.
Ginger, we're out of time.
Oh,
so
God.
you guys are going to have to continue that part off.
This is just horrible. It's just,
know.
in St. Louis, if people could just see that it's all within reach, just like the CBC says.
You love that. You always love that.
More so than other cities.
Yes, and Kitty would love that too.
Yeah.
All within reach.
Where can we go to learn more about Arch Grants?
Archgrants.org.
Of course.
Join our movement of such. And if you are interested in volunteering because you have industry expertise, or if you are interested in investing in a company, or you are interested in donating to Arch Grants, you can find all that information on that website.
That's great. Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you.
It's always good to see you,
So
Ginger.
nice to see you, Ginger.
You too.
And thank you to Nighthawk Security for making our segment possible today through their generosity. They're locally owned and locally monitored here in St. Louis since 1974. Home and business security for the St. Louis metro area for over 40 years. Call 846-4600 and ask for Joe.